Hello and welcome to the Best and Worst Pictures podcast. I'm your host Jake, and with me as always is my good co-host Ian.
That's me.
And joining us as per usual is my other fine co-host Mud. How you doing?
All right, I guess.
Same. What is this show, you might ask? Well, every week the three of us idiots review a Best Picture winner over the past 100 or so years and determines one of the best or worst pictures as compared to the other ones. And this week we're discussing the 12th Best Picture winner ever, which is of course the hit Clark Gable classic Gone with the Wind. And to start us off, Mud, not Ian, has collected some fun facts.
No, I just want to say, this might be the ultimate best picture so far.
Hypothetically, it's
maybe of all time. This is one of the most famous movies ever.
Exactly.
We'll talk about that.
Why don't you talk about it now? Because Mud, we got some fun facts that we have not heard ahead of time. So Mud, take it away.
Yeah. So this film was released on December 15th, 1939 by MGM, those distributed by Loew's Inc., which is their parent company. It has an 8.1 out of 10 IMDb rating, 91% Rotten Tomato critics, and I didn't write it down for some reason because I'm stupid, but very high audience score as well, I'm sure. The director of this film is Victor Fleming, who is notable for two other works, including Treasure Island from 1941 and 1939's The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wait, he directed this too?
Same director.
Same year, right?
Same year.
Same contention for Best Picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
As for the fun fact, I picked this one because it's really going to set the mood for the discussion of this film. Actress Anne Revere, we will talk about her later on this podcast, was noted for describing Fleming as, and I'm quoting, violently pro-Nazi.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of these.
God damn it.
So before we get into the starring, I need to preface, please don't kill me. I didn't pick Clark Gable to talk about.
Why not?
We talked
about him twice.
We can never stop talking about him.
I know, he's great. But there are other actors in this film who I feel deserve a spotlight.
So Clark Gable.
Clark Gable's in this. Now, the first actor I picked is Thomas Mitchell. He's also known for the film Stagecoach, which he was nominated for an acting award in, which he won. We will get to that.
Cool.
And also the Frank Capra classic, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
I'm starting to think everyone in Hollywood was in this fucking movie.
Right?
Yeah. He was also the first actor to win the Triple Crown, which is an Emmy, a Tony, and an Oscar for acting. None of them were for this performance. And I want to make it clear, I'm saying actor because he was not the first performer to win. I believe her name was Helen Keyes or Helen Hayes. I don't remember because she's not in this, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, but her name's Helen.
Mm-hmm. The other actor I wanted to highlight is George Reeves.
Isn't that Christopher Reeves' dad?
No. Well, no, but it is Superman.
Oh.
Superman from the 1940 serials. George Reeves.
Yep.
I heard the last name and went, Superman.
No, I don't think they're related, but they've both been.
Wait, why were two men separately named Reeves?
I was about to say, you got it right, wrong.
You got it right, but also, yes, but actually no.
Yeah, 50% credit.
Yeah, he's in this. Like, I was looking through the cast and I was like, George Reeves, is that the super? It is. It's the old Adventures of Superman serial guy. As for the fun fact, his death by gunshot wound is complex. Some people think it was an accident, some people think it was a murder, some people think it was a suicide. Honestly, we're not a true crime podcast, so we're not going to talk about it.
It's up in the air.
But go read that Wikipedia article. It's a fucking wild ride. And lastly, the actress I've chosen to talk about is Hattie McDaniel. Now, she was in a lot of films in her life.
Yep.
Always as a maid, or a servant, or a helpful support to the white families.
Oh, no.
The most significant film that she was in, aside from this, was Song of the South.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was also in a film called Since You Went Away, where she played a maid who offers to work for free out of loyalty to the family. She was also the first African-American to ever win an Academy Award for this film for Best Supporting Actress.
Let's go!
Her character's name, she is literally credited as Mammy.
Okay. Best Supporting Actress won? Holy shit.
Hey, that's a prestigious award.
I have mixed feelings on that one.
She beat someone from this film
Awesome.
to win.
I have mixed feelings on her winning for that. But hey,
you know what?
winner's
Good
winner.
acting's good acting.
Good acting's good
But,
acting.
you know,
we will see. We will be the ones to judge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like if you ever see that fun fact, it's like, fun fact, the first African American actor to ever win was Hattie McDaniel in 1939.
Yay.
I feel like there should literally be an asterisk or her character's name was literally Mammy.
Yep.
Like not Mammy this, literally just Mammy. I was like,
Yep.
oh.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
We'll work about it.
So
get there.
fun facts about
Fun
this film.
facts. Painful racism.
Yeah.
Mammy.
You already
So-
got to that quote fun with
Painfully racist facts. Let's
Yep.
see what I got here. Oh,
Right.
it unseated Birth of the Nation for the highest grossing film of all time,
Speaking of
which it
racism.
still holds the record for if you adjust for inflation.
Yep.
Hattie McDaniel, who won an Academy Award for this film, was actually absent as she and the other black cast members were prevented from attending due to the Jim Crow era laws at the time, which prevented her from attending the premiere in Georgia.
You were not allowed to accept the Oscar you won.
No. You were not allowed to
Wow.
attend the premiere of the film.
Jesus.
Yeah. A few people were going to protest, notably Clark Gable.
Ah, what a good guy.
Yeah, but he threatened to boycott the event, actually, but McDaniel herself persuaded him to attend.
Aw.
I know. A 2014 poll found that this is still a very favored book amongst Americans, second only to the Bible.
Imagine if it was over the Bible. Then they could really say they were bigger than Jesus.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, and then this is my personal favorite. So there's this guy named Carlton Moss. He was kind of a commentary, like a news writer at the time. He also, just to give you an idea of who this guy is, he wrote a propaganda film in World War II called The Negro Soldier, encouraging racial harmony amongst World War II soldiers and encouraging African-American men to enlist. It was directed by Frank Capra, just in case you need to know how much fucking clout this guy has.
Great. Thank you, Frank.
He said, while Birth of a Nation is a frontal attack on American history and the Negro people, Gone with the Wind is a rear attack on the same.
Oh.
And he was alive when this movie came out.
Wow.
Oh my
You know,
god.
because he's working with fucking Frank Capra.
Yeah.
Yup.
Also, President Jimmy Carter later recalled that this film was, and I'm quoting, the biggest event to happen in the South in my lifetime. And naturally, upon its release, Gone with the Wind broke attendance records everywhere.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, baby!
Yeah, mixed
we love
feelings.
historical reversionism and lost cause mythology.
Yeah.
I hope that it's not bad, but I'm thinking that it's going to be. It didn't age well.
Oh, I'm not done yet, by the
Oh
way.
my
So it's a
God.
record setter at the Academy Awards with a total of 8 wins and 13 nominations.
Whoa.
They're both the highest in the categories thus far.
Yep.
It won for Best Film Editing, Best Cinematography, Colored Films. Now, I want to make it clear, it's a film in color. It's not because there's black people in the film.
You have to
This movie's
clarify
been
that, though.
painfully racist up to this point, so I had to double
You
check.
know what's really weird? Can we? I'm gonna side tangent. This is the same dude who directed Wizard of Oz, 2 colored films in the same year after none have won.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
It also won in Best Art Direction, which was pretty cool because it was one of 12 nominations.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Best Screenplay, Hattie McDaniel won Best Supporting Actress,
Yep.
beating Olivia de Havilland in the same category. Vivian Leigh won Best Actress, beating returning faces Betty Davis, Greta Garbo, and Irene Dunn, all of which have been talked about in previous videos.
Yes, they have.
Can't remember exactly which ones, but you know,
I
we're
remember
starting
all
to
those
see we're
names.
starting to see some recycling.
Yep.
Okay.
Victor Fleming won Best Director, beating our boy Frank Capra
And beating himself
for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. As for other nominations it lost Best Special Effects to The Rains Came, Best Sound Recording to When Tomorrow Comes, and Best Original Score to The Wizard of Oz.
He won too.
I want to tangent off that. Max Steiner, who composed Gone with the Wind, was also nominated for a film called Dark Victory, same year. He was also not the only one to get multiple nominations in the Best Score category. Alfred Newman got 2, and Victor Young got 3. All this year.
What the fuck?
Right?
All right, 8 things are nominated. There are 3 guys who made these 8 things.
Yeah. Thomas Mitchell, the leading actor I mentioned, he actually won for Stagecoach Supporting Actor this year.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
And Clark Gable lost the Best Actor to Robert Dote for Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Other losing actors this year, let me fucking read you this list, all right? James Stewart,
Guy I've heard of.
Mickey Rooney,
Guy I've heard of.
Laurence Olivier,
Guy I've heard of.
Clark Gable
Okay.
are the 4 losers.
Fun fact, all of those guys that you mentioned, except Mickey Rooney, are on some of the best actors of all time from this era.
I know.
And they lost to Le Gwent's Dort or whatever
Robert
his name
Dote.
was. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the films it beat out include Dark Victory, Goodbye, Mr. Chips, Love Affair, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Nino Chichka, Of Mice and Men, Stagecoach, The Wizard of Oz, and Wuthering Heights.
I've seen 2 of those. I've seen Of Mice and Men and Wizard of Oz.
I've seen 3. I've seen Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Of Mice and Men,
Wuthering Heights?
and Wizard of Oz.
Ah, okay.
Who hasn't seen fucking Wizard of Oz? Ian?
Everyone's seen
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz, yeah.
Yeah. And, well, because this movie really just bogged me down with its blatant and painful racism, I unfortunately had to forego the foray into the world of blatant and painful racism that is the life of Mary Pickford. So, Ian,
Yeah.
what's your
So,
Mary Pickford
The
fact?
other day, I was watching a thing, and there was a very famous quote in said thing, and I was like, huh, interesting. And they accredited the quote to Mary Pickford. And
What's
I
the
went,
quote?
no fucking way. I had to Google if she actually said it, because I thought it was such a fun coincidence. If you have made mistakes, even serious ones, there is always another chance for you. What we call failure is not the falling down, but the staying down. Mary Pickford said that.
Damn.
Damn, that's a
The
great
very
quote.
famous quote that I've heard multiple times. I'm like, that's Mary Pickford? And it was. There's also a fun second quote that I would like to say that is way funnier and way more ironic, and it's adding sound to movies would be like putting lipstick on the Venus de Milo. Fucking hilarious.
Okay, well, the first quote is just what Chumbawamba based tub thumping off of.
I
And
get knocked down.
the second quote is actually really funny in hindsight, since I would not go back to movies pre-lipstick on Venus de Milo. I want sound in my fucking movie.
Exactly. So I thought it was really interesting. It was just the second part of the quote where the thing about failure is the staying down, not the falling down. And I was like, oh, I've heard that multiple times. And it's like, tribute, Mary Pickford. And I was like, what? You mean Mary Pickford, Mary Pickford?
Damn right.
Canadian-American actress Mary Pickford?
Famous for posing with Mussolini while giving a fascist salute, Mary Pickford?
D.W. White Mary Pickford?
Human whose this podcast is accidentally entirely dedicated to, Mary Pickford.
Semi-relevant racist Mary Pickford?
I just thought it was really interesting how we had our Mary Pickford facts, and then I went, oh my god, a Mary Pickford fact.
Well,
Yeah.
on to a movie that has no Mary Pickford and maybe some racism.
Maybe.
Okay, definitely. I try to keep it fresh.
It's Mamie time.
Also, if I could throw in a fun fact about the movie too, on HBO Max, it starts with a title card they put that says, "We don't want to erase history by changing the movie.
fucking racist.
We don't want to change history by erasing the movie or anything like that, but there's some dated shit in here." I'm paraphrasing a little bit. They didn't say
Yeah.
that verbatim.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to present movies like this.
It is.
Just like, dog, we know it's racist.
Yep. Well, let's get into it, baby. We just watched the film Gone with the Wind, but right before we hit play, I looked outside, and as I saw the clouds part, down descended Joe Quinn of Potato Cast fame and glory. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
How was watching the movie with us?
I'm very tired.
Yeah, it's like
Same.
a mini series basically. We watch all at once. My God. All right, guys. So we have a lot of thoughts. Who wants to start us off?
Can we start with like the biggest thing?
What's the biggest thing?
Scarlett's such a fucking bitch.
Oh, are we going right into it? Okay. The main character is Scarlett O'Hara. God, she is a cunt.
I have multiple different notes. Wow, Scarlett's really entitled and rude. She should be suffering a little bit more. Damn, Scarlett's fucking such a bitch. Jesus Christ, she fathers money and land identity. Later on, man, Scarlett needs more bad shit to happen to her. Why does Scarlett never change? Only bad things.
It just kept going. Like, after the halfway point, when there was like an hour left, this movie's 3 hours and 45 minutes long.
Yes, very long.
After the like halfway point, with like maybe an hour and a half left, we kept going, man, when is she gonna get what's coming to her?
And okay,
Because she treats everyone around her like shit and is so manipulative and so narcissistic and just so rude to everyone around her. And her main love interest, Rhett Butler, played by Clark Gable, is exactly the same way. And it's like these two are perfect for each other because they're both just manipulative twat waffles.
but the thing about Rhett is he has redeemable qualities.
Yeah.
Also, I want to
Charming,
point out
sure.
the end of Gone with the Wind. I know it's a very famous movie ending, but it's such an earned, satisfying ending for the reasons you're talking about. Because it is
Yes.
one of the biggest things to happen to her. The last like 20 minutes are basically just screwing over Scarlett because frickin' her friend dies, this dies, that guy dies, her kid dies, the unborn kid dies, the actual born kid dies, and then he's like, "Yeah, fuck you, I don't give a shit about you," and walks away. And it's like, yes,
Amazing.
been waiting for that the whole time.
Dude.
I'm going to say, I don't think she got it bad enough.
I agree, but okay. So right at the start, she's such a spoiled, entitled bitch. And then when she enters as the hospital nurse for the war, she just leaves and she's an entitled bitch.
Oh, my
and then
God.
she's poor and she's like, "Oh, you guys have to do this work too," blah blah blah, being rude.
And no self-awareness.
No self-awareness. She's super rude the whole time.
Mhm.
And even when she's struggling through that time, if she was more humble about it, I'd feel like enough happened to her. But she was still so self-absorbed the entire time that it didn't feel like enough suffering.
And also, it felt like suffering in the wrong places. Like, okay, so towards the end of the film, she has a child with Clark Gable named Bonnie, who is very clearly Clark Gable's pride and joy.
Mhm.
Yes.
Scarlett is indifferent at best to her own child, and at
Yeah.
one point declares that she will not have any more kids because it made her waist go up 1.5 inches in size.
Yeah,
Me.
Like,
which I
this
guess
van-
mattered.
It's a whole scene dedicated to how vain Scarlett is.
Yes.
She's like, oh, kids are making me fat. No more kids. And then Bonnie dies
Yep.
in like
Suddenly.
very suddenly, in what's supposed to be like a tragic rendition of how her father died. And I just felt bad for Rhett.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never felt like it affected Scarlett at all.
When you say her father, you need to clarify, not
Pa.
Bonnie's father.
Yeah.
Pa,
Pa.
the older Scarlett's.
Scarlett's father
Right.
dies a little over halfway through this film. After he jumps his horse over a fence, falls off the horse, and fucking breaks
Yep.
his neck.
I think
And
it's just under halfway because
Yeah,
this
it's a
movie
little-
is like 2 parts.
It is two
This
parts.
movie, okay,
This
one of
movie's
the
two
biggest
different
criticisms,
films.
man. This film feels like 2 different films with the same cast.
Can
Yeah.
we talk about like the good things first before we get into the
Oh, yeah.
negatives?
No, I need to finish this.
All right, go.
though.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
It
ahead.
never feels like it's a tragedy for Scarlett that her daughter dies.
Right.
Yeah, it focuses more on Rhett. I feel like if it focused a little bit more on Scarlett in that situation, when even when Mamie and Melly are talking
Or
about
when
it.
when Bonnie was alive, if there had been more focus.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene where they're walking their kid, and Scarlett's basically like, I can't believe we're doing this. This is for service.
It's performative. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, she takes no stock in the child. It never feels like she fucking loves this kid.
Yeah.
So when it dies, I don't feel bad for her.
No, I feel way more bad for Rhett.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh my god, this guy, like, this kid was his world, and like, that's what I mean. Is like, it never feels like Scarlett truly gets what's coming to her.
No,
I
that's
wanted
true.
her to lose her money. I wanted her to lose her wealth. I wanted her servants to leave her.
No, that's fair.
I wanted her family to turn its back on her.
That's fair, and I think
None
that
of that.
Her
happens.
sister did.
One sister.
Yeah.
I think she deserved more than what she actually got, which was frankly just a dead daughter and a divorced husband.
Which, like, we're underselling it. Like, her child
And her
dies.
best friend also died.
Scarlett is like very sociopathic, and that's kind of the point of the character. It's like, oh, I need to be a certain way to be an asshole to survive in the post-war times. Like, I get.
See, I understand it in the post-war, but once she's spoiled by Clark Gable, she can enjoy herself, and she doesn't.
Right.
No, I get
Yeah.
that, but like I get that the point of the movie is supposed to be how she's supposed to act in order to survive and take care of her family after that vowing sequence.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, yeah, she doesn't really get her comeuppance in the end
and then
very
she
much.
abandons her family.
Yeah, exactly. And like, yes, the most powerful moment of the movie is the end of the movie where Clark Gable says the best line ever. It almost is an awesome story and through line building up to that point throughout. It wants to be so bad, and it really mostly is, but there are so many shortcomings in the story that kind of take away from that moment. I want to talk about one aspect of the movie that I think kind of fits in line with that. Ashley, as a character, is really difficult for me to kind of process. Like, for all of its runtime, the movie does not do a good job of establishing why Scarlett is so in love with Ashley in the first place. He has no personality and looks like death himself. Wings had the same problem too
Yeah.
in that sequence where it's the point of the movie at the end. Either way, it still isn't very developed, and because the movie literally hinges on it for like a
The
third
whole
of the runtime,
movie.
like the whole point of the movie is like her obsession with this dude, and it leads to like every single downfall in her life.
Yep.
I don't get how someone so sociopathic cares about Ashley at all. There's no on-screen reason for it.
They have scenes together where they're in private, and it always boils down to the same thing of, oh, Ashley, tell me you love me, tell me you want me, and we'll run away together right now. And Ashley's like, oh, you fool, Scarlett, of course I love you, but we can't be together.
And he never loved her the whole time.
Right.
I know. Like, at the 2-hour mark of the movie, she's still saying things like, I've loved you so long, I love you, so say love you. Like, the movie did not do a good job establishing why she loved him. So the movie doesn't get points for pretending that she still loves him after he married his cousin and ignored her for years after that point.
That's the best part of the movie, by the way.
No, it's not.
He's just like, oh, Scarlett, a woman who's not related to me, that's beautiful. I'm gonna marry my cousin. What the fuck, Ashley?
There's a note at the beginning of the film. They're like, the Wilkses always marry in,
Yeah, they say that.
which is weird. But I get what you mean, though. It's like this harkens back to the fact that Scarlett's character does not change over the course of the film.
No.
She starts the film as a selfish, entitled bitch who is really only looking out to get what she wants. And yeah, sure, she takes charge of the family farm after the end of the war. But even after that, she screws the family over by leaving.
Yep.
I don't
No,
care.
she pays for the place still.
I get that she pays for the place still, but
Yeah.
she still left after this whole thing about how we have to endure here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have to endure here. Well, not me.
I'm gonna disagree slightly. I do think there is a pretty decent jump between the first and second half of this film with Scarlett's character, because she becomes like a lot more manipulative in the second half. And
That's
in the
true.
first half, she's actually kind of caring for the people around her. She actually cares
I will
somewhat.
I'm
I will
gonna also
concede that.
disagree with. No, I'm disagreeing with your disagreeing.
Okay,
In
all
the
right,
first part of the movie, she marries Ashley's brother just to make him jealous.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too.
That's
I count
fair.
3 marriages.
That's manipulative.
3 marriages.
She also helped someone give birth.
So, just because she had to.
She was literally the only one present.
I also,
And even then, she beat Prissy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's not
Prissy into helping her.
it's not good. It's just it's I don't know. It shows that she's
You're giving her more brownie points than she deserves.
Maybe I am.
will
Maybe
admit
I
she's
am.
more manipulative in the second half. But
But she was still manipulative. It's just a.
she just became more overtly manipulative.
right.
I can't even say her character doesn't change. I think she gets worse in the areas I didn't like.
It is evolving.
Yeah,
It's backwards.
that's true. That's true.
I want to talk about the 3 separate marriages, if I could.
Oh, let's
Yeah.
fucking
Because,
dive into
okay,
this.
so the first one was just to make Ashley jealous because I already married someone.
And
How
then-
the fuck is that gonna
And
work?
then the second one, she goes, "Man, I need some money. What if I married my sister's prospective love candidate?"
They were
Right.
fiancés. Yeah, they were going to be
Also,
married.
what the fuck? Let's talk about that for a second. How the fuck did, what was his name, Hathaway? How did husband number 2 suddenly switch like that? Like, he was devoted to Sue
she
Ellen.
said that she was gonna marry someone else,
Right.
And he got upset.
Oh, what a bitch. And you know what the worst part is? Sue Ellen never like, it's so
No,
easy.
Sue Ellen bitches about it. I hate her. I hate
Yeah,
her.
but if Sue Ellen went to her husband and was like, what the fuck? Boom, Scarlett's found out. So
That's true.
Fucking real fucking convenient that they never went to each other. But this film just lacks complete and utter self-awareness of itself, much like Cimarron.
Yep.
And I know what you mean, though, the husband shit. Oh my god. Like, it's a recurring motif that Scarlett's husbands leave or die. And it almost seems like it's trying to make a point that she'll never be happy because she's such a cunt. But it never really plays like that. Like, her first husband dies in battle. And when he died, I legitimately went, wait, she got married to someone?
Yeah, it was fucking. What was his name? Charles.
Whatever.
Fucking
Second husband, all we could say was, wow, what a bitch to do
Frank
that to her.
Kennedy.
Frank
by the way.
Kennedy.
Yep.
What a bitch to do that to her sister. Do her sister dirty like that.
Yeah.
Especially after she gives all these speeches about how they have to stick together and this, that, and the other
Yeah.
fucking thing.
Oh, we all have to do the equal share of the work, but I'm gonna marry your fiance.
Yeah, and it's
What
like,
the fuck?
and the way he's introduced with previous scenes and then this scene, I didn't understand why they couldn't have gone into business together and had the marriage.
Mhm.
Like, he
Yep.
definitely would have been willing to spot Scarlett the money and then start the lumber thing.
Well, I don't know.
And-
He was saving money for his wedding.
Yeah.
Fair, but like, I think he would have been understanding of like, hey, the family's in a tight spot. Like, we helped you out after the war. We clothed and we fed you.
Yes,
got you
and-
back
and
on
it's
your feet
easy.
for free.
It's easy to say, "Oh, she'll marry you if you help."
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, come on, let's combine our powers. Like,
Yeah.
Scarlett did not need to do that.
No, she manipulated him in the wrong way. She did it dirty.
She should have been guilt tripping him.
She should have been like, "Oh, you can help us because you're gonna marry, and she won't marry. I don't know if she'll marry you if I tell her you said no." Like, that's the thing.
Right. Yeah.
Like, she manipulated him by going, "I'll suck your wee wee." Oh, she's marrying someone else.
Can we, before we go into more of the negatives of this film, I do think it's fair that we should talk about the positives, because
Yes.
there are
Okay.
there
Okay.
are a lot of
I can do
positives.
this.
Can I start with one of the biggest positives that will ever give
It's gonna
a
be
film?
Clark Gable.
No, if that's the biggest. All right, the second biggest. This is the most film that we've watched for Best Picture.
What do you
That
mean
doesn't
by
make
that?
it intrinsically positive.
No,
what do you
that's
mean by
a
that?
good thing. This is modern day. This would hold up modern day. Like, except the racism
With all
part.
the racism.
Except the racism part and sexism part. Like, this is a modern day film, but in 1939.
That I agree with.
Like, the script, the way it's paced, like,
The editing is fine.
The set production
Yes.
is
Oh my
beautiful.
God.
You could have convinced me this was 60s.
Honestly.
Yes.
You could have convinced me this was even 70s, maybe.
Dude, it's
Like,
in color.
maybe.
First of all, like a color movie in the Best Picture thon.
For film and color, okay, to state off the bat, I don't know if the HBO Max version is like restored in any
think
way.
it is. I
It
think it
looks almost too good.
I was about to say
It's so
that
good.
there's incredible color design.
For
And
the first color film, it does a really good job.
yeah, for
Yeah.
the first one,
I know color grading wasn't really a thing back then, but for some of these scenes, you could have fooled me.
Oh,
And maybe that's an
so
aspect of
good.
the restoration. Maybe that's a whole detail of that. But
think-
like, still, it's who
But if we're
knows?
judging it off the version we watched, oh my
God.
It's beautiful. It has some genuinely beautiful moments.
Oh, that shot of them running in front of the collapsing building that's
Yep.
on fire.
Yes, I
Yep.
wrote that down.
Beautiful.
And also, it being in color is just a reprieve from the black and white movies we've watched so far.
God. Clark Gable in color hits different.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the second best part, first best part, Clark Gable.
I'll even say this: the woman playing Scarlett O'Hara,
Amazing.
really great, because I fucking hate her guts.
All of the acting in this movie is pretty good.
Yes.
honestly.
Yeah.
Hattie McDaniel.
Every single main and regular side character is so good.
Yeah.
Hattie McDaniel.
Yep.
I actually really do genuinely understand why she won that Oscar.
Oh, 100%.
Her first scene where she just starts screaming at Scarlett, fucking hilarious, and she brought a lot of energy
Yeah,
to it.
no, definitely. This feels like a modern acted movie, not a screenplay. Not, well, darling, I'm gonna. It felt. That's why I'm so happy that this movie was that we got to watch this one. Oh,
It's
why did it win?
not-
Oh, probably because it's a fucking Marvel in every single way.
I don't hate it.
I-
It's not
yeah.
awful.
No, absolutely not.
And that being said, it's painfully fucking racist.
Oh, before we get to, I'm
Yeah, we can talk more
I'm excited
positives.
to touch on that a little bit.
I
Let's
think.
keep the
I think.
positivity going.
All right, I want to talk. We can talk technically for a little bit.
well, I want to
Um,
talk about what you brought up, Mr. Glork Cable
Oh,
himself.
you mean the best actor who's ever lived?
Yeah, he's oddly reminiscent of some eclectic characters that happened after 1939. For example, I'm going to point one out there. Han Solo, anybody?
A little bit.
Dashing Rogue, yeah.
Even Dashing Rogue, who's like only cares about the money and is just trying to help
And then he
himself.
turns
but
out to have a heart.
wrapped
He
up
works
in it.
with the Confederates and smooth talks his way out of being hung.
And
That's the funniest
in
one.
Empire Strikes Back, the love plot was him saying that, "Oh, you're so in love with me," but he's denying it. It's kind of this
Yeah.
mind game. A little bit of that's
You know
here.
Broad
I can
strokes,
see it.
yeah.
I
broad
totally
strokes.
see some broad strokes.
What?
I'll
You know
say.
what? Instead of a Han Solo type, a Clark Gable type.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. You make a fantastic point. There's a scene less than halfway through this film where Rhett Butler, Scarlett O'Hara, Prissy, the one that gave birth, and then the baby,
Melly?
Melly, yeah.
And Bo.
escape Atlanta as Sherman descends down upon it,
Yep.
which was the funniest fucking thing. There's a title card in this film that's just Sherman in all caps, and the background is fire.
Sherman. Yeah, that's a good title
What
card.
a great way to summarize Sherman. They escape, and then Rhett Butler's like, oh, they're probably going to be making their last stand. I should go join them. But the entire film up to this point, he's established himself as, I'm in it for myself. I don't really care about the South.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the money. Fuck y'all.
He
And
flat
then
out says it's at one point that we're going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He says it in that scene.
He says it before the war starts. He's
Right.
like, you guys are going to fucking lose.
And,
And then
in
he's
that
just
scene
like-
that you're talking about, Mud, he goes, "Oh, I've always been a hopeless one for lost causes."
Yeah, establishes that pretty well.
That was the one scene where I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
why-
that scene to me kind of explained a little bit about what that guy was doing. He knows he shouldn't be after people like her, but he desires it.
You know what I think? I think he was trying to manipulate her into being, "No, stay with me," because he's also manipulative.
Okay, I
You're
don't.
right, but in the end, he does leave.
Yeah.
And we know he fights in that battle
Yep.
because he was captured. So it's like there's a difference between like, oh, I'm really into this hot bitch sociopath, and there's a solid chance I'm gonna die.
I think it's a 50-50. He definitely was trying to manipulate
Also,
her in
remember,
that scene,
he
but
only-
he went through with it.
Remember, he only left after his kid died. That was the drawing, like the big point.
Yeah,
for him.
he does
Yeah, at the
say
end,
that it could have worked if we had Bonnie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
'Cause-
I do agree.
I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about when he leaves way before Bonnie.
When
to
he
go
leaves to
fight
go
in the
fight in
civil
the
when
fight,
he goes
Yep.
to fight in the final stand.
Yeah.
And it's like, why the fuck is this guy going? Because up until this point, he's been in it for himself, and I didn't feel like that was in line with his character.
I felt like maybe the fact that he had feelings for somebody, he either wanted to get away from that, wanted to manipulate her into it, maybe a little bit of a change of heart, because he actually has character progression.
A little bit, yeah. I feel like circling way back to something Joquin said. Yeah, this is two different movies.
They're tied together, but I feel like they feel more like two different movies.
The movie ends. They're tied together, but the movie ends with Scarlett surviving the burning of Atlanta, making it her way back to her farm, finding out that part of her family's dead, most of their slaves have run away.
Yep.
and then vowing to, rise from the ashes. And it's like, that's actually a really good end to the movie. And then the second movie starts with them working, and it turns out Rhett got captured, and this, that, and the fucking other thing.
Yep.
Like, they're two different movies.
I will
It
say,
feels like two different movies, but I think they're connected enough where it's warranted.
Yeah.
I will say though, once the movie, all of it gets going, this one massive 4-hour behemoth, it does grip you. The pacing for the most part is pretty strong.
For the
In
most
the
part.
second half.
The second half, the pacing's bad.
I don't know
I
about
disagree.
bad.
No. They speed run their marriage.
They speedrun a lot towards the end.
Yeah.
Okay, just the marriage I will give you, but literally everything else I think is
Because
fine.
it's like boom, scene, boom, scene, boom, scene, boom,
right, but
baby, boom, toddler. It's like, whoa.
You're talking
slow
about
down a little
you're
bit.
talking about 40 minutes of the 4-hour film. I'll agree
Yeah,
with you
no,
there, but
yeah.
the rest of it is perfect.
Yeah, that's why I said for the most part.
Right. That I would
Maybe
agree.
it's just that I wanted the movie to be over.
I wanted the movie to be over when we started.
I gotta point out, it's now 11 at night.
Yeah.
Like we're all tired as
We
fuck.
started this movie at 6. We took a break at one point.
Yeah.
Barely.
Oh my god.
Barely a
Little bit
break.
of a
I
break.
used the restroom and we came back.
We're all very tired. We recorded. This isn't the only thing we recorded today.
Right. We've
No.
been at this for a while. We're all a little groggy, but it's fine. We like the movie,
Point
kind
is, there's a lot to talk about, but towards the end, yeah, the movie's very speedrun, especially for the last 40 minutes. And it's kind of annoying because, like, the film builds up for so long, this will they, won't they thing with Rhett and Scarlett. Like, they keep having interactions and they keep leaving each other.
Yeah.
And then they find their way back to each other. And I get what they're going for. And honestly, they work as a couple because they're both assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, God, you two are made for each other.
They work as a couple, but they also don't work together as a couple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know what
yeah.
you mean.
they're toxic for each other.
Trust me, I've been in a relationship like that where
Yeah.
it's like, God, we are a match made in hell.
Did you say something along the lines of "I don't give a damn"?
No, I definitely told her to
Frankly,
fuck
my
off
dear.
more than once.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Oh, that's basically that, but modern
it's
day.
a modern day version.
Yeah,
of that.
fuck off. And then there's the story of restoring Tara, their farm. It's Scarlett transforming into, well, more of herself
Yeah.
because she's just awful.
Clark advances as a character where Scarlet regresses as a character.
I think what really kills it is for the last 40 minutes, we're just waiting for the shoe to drop.
Yep.
For Scarlett to get something, her business goes under, her family finally turns their back on her, something bad happens to her.
Yeah.
And something does happen to her. That's awful.
Yeah,
But it's the wrong thing.
yeah.
When something bad happens to Scarlett, I want it to be vindication.
Right.
I want
Yeah.
it to be cathartic. I want it to be like, yes, you stupid, ignorant bitch. You deserve this. You've spent years manipulating these people. When Bonnie dies, I'm just like, no. Oh my God, that's so sad.
Exactly, because when the bad things happen to her in this movie, it's bad things that also happen to Rhett who doesn't deserve it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's hilarious to think that Scarlett's tactic of making somebody jealous by immediately marrying somebody else is an actual tried and true tradition amongst real life.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
happens, or that happened, I should say. Maybe it still happens, but it mostly happened
Oh,
in
it
that time
definitely still
period,
happens.
and
Yeah.
and then some
Revenge
because like
marriage, bro.
like the movie Pride and Prejudice, the book mostly is about that concept.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to like think about and dissect.
Speaking of the book, let's talk about the opening to this film, the opening Star Wars text.
Sure.
Jesus, the opening crawl is what I wrote. This film opens talking about how grand the old South was and how it's now lost to time. It literally calls it like the last vestige of gallantry and knighthood and fair ladies and of master and of slave. Like it's put in there with like all this other shit. It's like, oh, you know knights, right? They're fucking dope, right? You know what gallantry is. Like you want to be gallant, right? Great times in the old South with master and slave.
Yep. Exactly.
They did that thing where they like slip one bad term in with all the good terms.
So I guess we're
Yeah.
just hopping straight into the elephant in the room then. You know,
Oh,
the
well,
slavery
we'll get there in a
elephant.
second because, well, actually, we'll get there soon because I wanted to say before that prologue is the other prologue put there by HBO Max itself
Yep.
Very
with
good.
Jacqueline Stewart. I want to say her prologue was too long, but since the film is 4 hours long, I wouldn't feel bad if it was 3 times longer.
It explained everything it needed to explain. It did a good job at saying, like, this movie would not be acceptable today, but you need to learn from history.
Yeah, I totally agree with their decision.
It could have been summarized by Sam Jackson just coming out and being like, yo, motherfucker, this shit racist.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, she does go on pretty long about it, but
no,
it's,
I
you know,
feel like it was the right length.
I never felt like she was
Yeah.
repeating herself.
I kind of did. The point is so simple that when Disney Plus put Dumbo back on, they had a title card that said the exact same thing, and it was like 3 sentences. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Warner Brothers used to do that for old Looney Tunes cartoons,
Yes,
actually.
they did.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there needed to be a bigger point made here.
I think there was some controversy with this movie on HBO Max that they actually pulled it off
They
for a
did.
little
It
bit.
says it right there.
Yeah. we're actually
HBO
looking
Max post Gone with the Wind is right there.
It's back on. Obviously, we just watched it.
We just
but
watched it.
it pulled off, I believe, because of the George Floyd riots.
One of my favorite things that I discovered in this film is white trash has been an insult used for centuries.
Yep.
Yep.
Dude, I looked it up. The 1600s in London was where it originated.
What a good phrase.
And okay, can we talk about how intelligent some of the characters in this movie are? Normally, when we watch movies like this, all the characters are fucking dumb. Clark Gable's character and Scarlet are both intelligent. Scarlet's evil intelligent, don't get me wrong.
Yes, and
But-
I'll agree with you there.
But Rhett is so fucking smart. He does the thing with the horse blinders where it's scared of the fire. If you cover a horse's eyes, it thinks it's not alive because it's dumb.
Right.
But if you blind the sides, it'll pretend like nothing's there and it will be less afraid. That's been a thing for forever.
It's a smart idea and concept, but
Yeah.
the way they implemented it in the film.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But I think that's a smart thing for him to be thinking. The plan where Kennedy, Frank Kennedy, the old guy, and Ashley all go to shoot the village
The
and
village
burn
of
the
rapists.
village
Yeah.
of rapists. Clark Gable goes, I've been hearing some talk. They know something's up. Where are they? And he goes
And he covers
gets
for
them
them.
drunk, covers for him. That is the smartest scene
Yep.
in any movie.
It was pretty good. It was really good because you really don't put it together until the very end.
Yep. When they show up singing, I'm like, oh my god, he did this. And you went, what? And I'm like, watch.
Yeah, I was so
It was
confused.
awesome.
You big brained it. I did not.
So I already talked about my theory during the film, so you guys know, but I'm going to share it again for the
Yeah.
audience. During that sequence, it's established that Clark Gable covered for them, but was definitely involved in the shenanigans in that night, of course. Immediately later in that scene, he is trying to like get with Scarlett, and I believe they get married in that point, or she accepts. his
It's
proposal?
the day
Since
after.
Hathaway died in the shootout.
Right, the day. Okay, so very shortly after, like he's able to use that to
Yep.
get with her. They didn't show Frank get killed. They said he got shot by gunpoint.
They said he
didn't-
got shot in the fucking head.
shot in the head, right? They didn't show who. They didn't show how or why. They didn't show any of that shit. Clark Gable's the one who says it. There's no evidence to suggest that Clark Gable didn't do that on purpose to get with Scarlett specifically, because it would have worked perfectly.
I don't
There's
think
also
so.
no evidence that he did it.
There's no evidence he
Yeah,
did.
I don't
The
think
lack
so.
of evidence is not
Because
true.
his manipulation is not that.
True.
That's
true.
why I don't think that's the case.
I get that, but at the same time, he's evil enough to sexually assault her.
He
later in the
does.
movie.
He does.
So
Sexually assault Jake.
Yeah,
Rape.
so-
Just straight up. Rape.
Straight up.
He
We-
rapes
well,
her.
okay,
Yeah.
He
we don't-
rapes her.
we don't-
Gets her pregnant, and she definitely liked it.
We don't know for a fact that's what happened. I think
It's heavily implied.
it is heavily
heavily
implied
implied.
because he just forcibly carries her
And
up
he says
the
like,
stairs.
"You won't deny me tonight."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Right.
And then it cuts to the morning, and she's like, "What a good night." It's like, what the fuck?
Right.
So let me point this out. Both of those scenes we're talking about, the implied possible not really murder and also the implied possible
Strongly implied,
strongly implied
definitely
rape.
possible.
Those are both immoral actions. If he did one, he conceivably could do the other.
Mhm.
If he didn't do one, maybe he didn't do the other.
You're right.
It's strongly implied.
I think we gotta. Maybe we should roll back saying that Rhett's a great character.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's a very well developed.
He's a very well written and interesting
Yes.
character.
Well, my
He's
whole
not a
point
good
with-
person.
My whole point
No.
with that was I have that theory, but I'm surprised the movie did not explain that a little clearly. Like, or at the very least, just like show or a little bit of a sequence of Frank, or have like freaking him say like, "I can't believe you've died," like be charismatic and or caring about it. He obviously didn't really care much about it. You know, have a little bit.
I think
more.
showing the raid would have broken the pacing for the covering of the
A
raid.
little bit, yeah.
Maybe like a sequence or two, like a
Because
clip.
that scene was tense.
That was a
Yeah.
very tense.
That
I'll
was
give
a
you that.
great. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I will give you that though.
Yeah.
But I'm just surprised the movie left it so open ended like that, so it doesn't like confirm or deny anything.
I guess we can go from talking about this to the movie's kind of sexist.
Oh,
but
movie's very
obviously.
sexist.
It's like, oh, women in business. Oh, wow, she's even driving herself around. Oh no.
And people are like disgusted. by
Yeah,
I will say though, that's the time period.
it. That is.
That is.
yeah, accurate, but
It's accurate.
point it out.
You know what else?
We're 80 years from that now, so we
Right.
can point it out.
Fair
And
enough.
be like, it is this.
It's not the most painful part of the film when it
No,
comes to
absolutely
ism.
not.
Right.
When it ism.
We'll get there. But no, as far as sexist, I didn't have I did, but I generally did not qualm as hard as some other controversial topic about the movie, because honestly, that is how every single man acted in like the late 1800s
And in the 30s.
and also the 30s as
And
well.
50s.
Right.
And 60s.
People
and,
who make the
So
movies. Basically.
I just want to note there's one scene that made us all laugh, and it is the scene about like an hour and a half in
Are you gonna?
where they get the there's a huge list going around from the casualties at Gettysburg, and they're reading, and it's just killed in action, killed in action, killed in action, and all these people are crying, and then this dude pipes up the band, and they start playing the most upbeat version of Dixie they can muster.
Fucking
I mean,
funny.
it's like it's punchy, it's like get you going. It's like let's dance, and this kid. Tears rolling down both of his eyes in like river style, just like flowing, is just busting out a solo on the flute.
I almost peed myself laughing. It was
It's
so
funny
fucking
because it's
funny.
so funny. Like they pick it up and it's a fast beat version of Dixie 2, which gives it that like uplifting feeling.
Yeah.
So, all right, if I can chime in with something
No.
a little bit
No.
different here.
You're
All
not allowed
well,
to.
Okay, thank you. I am a black man.
Oh shit, really?
Are you sure?
Shit.
Most days I am.
Okay, fair.
On most days, I'm a black man. Sometimes on the internet, I'm a white woman, but we don't talk about those days.
I don't know. I was kind of uncomfortable with how the slaves were portrayed in this movie.
I agree.
They were not portrayed as like they hate their lives. And that's not what would have happened.
I
No,
agree.
not at all.
You're
So
right.
we're getting right into it, I guess.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the racism in this.
if I can just go a little more.
Absolutely, the floor is yours.
Okay. We had that message at the beginning, and I do think it was like a very good message.
Yes.
But I don't think that's what the main problem with the movie is. I think it like romanticizes the South. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but throughout the entire movie, during the wartime and even after the fact, they were just constantly talking about how great the South is. They were having like we were seeing them like happy at parties, celebrating, and
you got those scenes where like there's a bunch of black soldiers
yeah,
in quotation marks going like, "Don't worry, Miss Skylar, we're gonna go beat back those Yankees."
right.
Yeah.
That made me feel more uncomfortable than the slaves portrayed in this movie.
Joe, I really wish you descended from the heavens earlier when I was reading off all of the racist facts about this film.
Yeah, you could
But
have
you
heard
know how I
them.
do the intro.
Right.
Yeah, no, shit. I wish you had been here for that because it really would have forewarned you to just the sheer unyielding full frontal racism of this
Right.
film.
Right.
Like it's romanticizing the South.
Yeah,
That's
the movie
only way you can
portrays
say it.
all of the black people as very loyal and faithful slaves. There's no anger or tension about literally being slaves.
And that to me,
I can only understand it with maybe Mammy because they actually treated her really well.
I do want to talk about Mamie a
comparatively.
little bit. I have a lot to
Mammy's
say.
fucking hilarious.
Mammy is probably Clark Gable, and then Mammy.
And even then, Ian points off for her name literally being Mammy.
Bro, I
Yes.
know. I'm just saying
Yep.
that they treated her more like family than like a servant.
You're right.
Even
They didn't
Porky
hit her
and
like they did with
even
Prissy.
Porky and Prissy, they're very stereotypically sounding. It feels like the subservience is the main focal point
Right.
with those characters, and there's no anger, there's no hatred, there's no seething. The soldiers who fought for the South in the war that were black were forced to by their masters. It wasn't, oh, we'll go get them Yankees. It was, we're doing this because we're dying if we don't.
Also,
Right.
I really want to talk about, because in context with a lot of this, the big themes of the movie are sometimes you have to be a little bit to a lot of bit evil to survive in such a hellish environment. Slaves loved every single bit of every single day.
Yep.
Yeah.
No evil necessary. Like, come on.
They even talked about it when she was like, oh, fucking, when they were using convicts for her lumber business.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, why don't you just use the darkies? And it's like, bro,
Oh, yeah.
hold the fucking bone.
To give credit to this movie, it never dropped the N-word. The closest it got was Negroes.
Yeah,
And that was 3 hours in.
That was 3 hours in.
I honestly, I'm agreeing with you because I expected more than one and frequent.
And then there's the scene right after the intermission, right when it fucking picks up, and fucking Scarlett's sisters are picking cotton, and they're complaining about how much fucking work it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, motherfucker.
but
this movie.
if they showed the slaves picking cotton, they would have been like singing songs.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, what a good
Oh,
day
yeah.
to be in the
Mud.
field.
Right.
Mud, can I ask you, do you think they didn't talk about the negativity because of a certain code Just
No,
like they
I
didn't,
think
just like they didn't mention any Jewish stuff in the last one.
No, I think this is different. I think that this is so clearly a product of Lost Cause mentality and just romanticizing the South.
Because in 39 it was still very racist.
Yes.
Yep. And at the time, a lot of black critics,
We're like, what the fuck is this?
Like a lot of people who were black and or not white and or people that were white that had a good conscience at all watched it and were like, wow, this is so incredibly racist. But the papers didn't report any of that because they were run by white men. So like none of that was actually like portrayed at the time. It was all just like, oh, universal praise because only the good white men said that was
we talked
praised.
about that. There was one black commentator who was like, if Birth of a Nation is a frontal attack on the black community, Gone with the Wind is a sneak attack from behind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's like, it's not about slavery or racism or like terrible portrayals of like black
Oddly
people.
enough, I think the fact that it's not about slavery is a bad thing.
But it's a big cock. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
The first half should at least have more.
Yeah.
or there should be
And the repercussions from the second half.
There's a scene in the second half where Scarlet is about to be attacked, and Big Sam.
My guy, Big Sam.
Big Sam, definitely a slave she used to own.
Last time he shows up in the movie too.
Yeah,
Oh,
last
man.
time I'm talking about this. So he shows up once, and he's the one who's like, "Don't worry, we're gonna go beat back those Yankees." And it's like, bro, that's also like the first scene he's really in. Like we see
Yeah.
him once, but like not really, and then like it's just to establish. Then he comes out of nowhere and fucking saves her ass, and he's just like, "Oh, let me get you home," and he leaves, and it's like, are we gonna have any talk about this? Like, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you used to own this dude. Like, can we? Come on, something, anything. Give me something to
And
show
he
Scarlett's
ran.
irrelevant.
He was one of the ones who left, so
Yeah.
there should be more there.
Yeah, it would be really interesting for her to be like, you're not under obligation to save me, and he's like, yeah, well, what am I gonna do?
That's what a good person would do.
Yeah, exactly. And she reflects on that, and she's like, maybe I'm a cunt.
I also want to talk about that too because technically, for about 10 seconds, the movie actually addresses slavery being a problem once.
It's with the convicts, right?
It's 2.5 hours in the movie. Actually, no. It's a passing line to Ashley by Scarlett during their argument. It's when he's like, I've always been good to people. Everyone's works under me is always good. And then she says to him, you own slaves.
Yes.
And then he said to her something along the lines of, yeah, but the war.
Everybody.
Yeah, but that doesn't
everybody
count.
did.
Yeah, literally something along those lines. So it's like,
Well, Ashley, if everyone were jumping off a bridge, would you?
the teacher argument.
If
Kinda,
everyone was
yeah.
getting female names, would you?
Yeah, Ashley, what the fuck?
Got him.
You married your cousin, Ashley.
And you're named after a girl, so I don't get that at all.
It's so annoying because it's like
Yeah.
it's in your face.
Yeah.
And then, like, when you try to comment on it, people are like, well, the movie's not actually about slavery. It's about Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler. And it's like, yes, but it's not about that.
I know it's not a fair fight because one's half the length of the other, but this movie isn't as racist as Cimarron, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that's because there's no scene where Scarlett is like, like Japanese people deserve rights while she owns a black person.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, what I said is not a compliment, but I'd call this movie an improvement, question mark?
Yeah. It's better
I
than
mean,
Cimarron,
you-
but that's not.
I don't-
That's not.
You
that's
can't
not hard.
you cannot say improvement when it's still there.
It's still
Yeah.
very much there.
The film is more watchable than Cimarron.
Yes,
But
that
that's
is true.
not necessarily because of its treatment of racism. That's more.
The film
Well,
around it's better.
It's a better movie.
The film
yeah.
around
Yes.
it's better.
Yep.
But like also the thing that brings down Cimarron is just that complete and utter lack of self-awareness where it's like, yeah, Native Americans really deserve respect. Also, I own this boy, and when he dies, I'm not gonna say anything about it.
Yep. That was like the big
know,
linchpin
like,
on
there's
that
no
one.
And the
scene of-
boy stereotype.
Now, granted, there's a
worst
little bit
stereotype.
of irony in terms of that as well in this movie,
Yeah.
especially with the themes, like I was saying earlier. The themes in the movie kind of conflict with that. It's not as bad here. It's definitely
Like,
bad
there's
here.
no scene like if this movie really brought down like the Scarlett's family to the point where they were on equal footing with like Mammy and Pork and stuff, there'd be something to say
Can't
there.
believe this man's name's Pork.
Yeah, it's a terrible name.
Oh,
But no, at one point, Scarlett, when she moves out of their estate, they're like, they even took all our servants with them. And it's like,
Well, the thing is, I understand why Mammy went, but I don't understand why Pork went. Because we don't get any characterization of him, because he's just a stereotypical
well, it's 'cause
racist man.
you know why? It's because she owns them. The movie doesn't want to say it, but she fucking owns them.
Yeah.
Yep. I want to talk about Mammy if I can a little bit.
Go
Yeah,
on. Go right ahead.
absolutely.
Just because I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about this, but like I want to crack open the bottle on this one. I am torn because, and I think you know exactly what I'm going to say. It's what we're all going to agree with. she is portrayed in an incredibly stereotypical way, and it's very offensive, and it's horrible, and it's a very bad thing. But she's so talented, and the actress is so good at delivering these stereotypical lines.
And there are good scenes where she's not super stereotypical.
Yeah.
There's a scene where she's interacting with Rhett after they move into the new mansion, and yeah, she's got a few like, you know, mammy-isms.
Sure.
But I think that's a product of the South. Because
Right.
growing up in that, you get the dialect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, not just the dialect, just the way she was moving and the way she was like fussing over herself. But like in that scene, Red treats her like a person. He's like, have a
Right.
drink. Have another
Yes.
drink. Just take the fucking bottle. It's yours.
Oh, when she was having the kid.
yeah.
Yep.
I think that's the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that's the best scene in the movie.
It's not the best scene ever in the movie. I think the give a damn, the iconic line is the best. But the interactions between Gable and anybody else on screen is just phenomenal. So I'll
Right.
give you that. But yeah. No, Mammy is sometimes difficult to watch. I will concede that. But goddamn, I'm really glad she won that Oscar, even though she was segregated at winning the award at the ceremony.
She literally had to sit at a table in the corner.
Yeah, that was tough to really think of. But again, that's why I'm so torn, because yes, the portrayal
I
is very
agree.
offensive,
Oh,
but
yeah.
she did so good.
You know what the thing is? She's the least racial stereotype out of
Oh my
any
god,
of the
Pork's
person
got
of,
some fucking rough lines.
out of any person of color in the film.
I think
pork
Prissy's
chop.
Prissy's the worst.
Oh, by far.
Okay, she is
Yeah.
very reminiscent of Isaiah and Cimarron.
I agree.
She's the
100%.
worst.
She's female Isaiah.
I will
Yeah.
go so far as to say that she is one of the worst characters in any movie
That we've seen, yeah.
that I've seen. Because I
Like,
put her
worst
with,
portrayed.
I'd put her with Jar Jar, probably for different reasons. Although that's also offensive. I'd put her with Jar Jar in terms of the most annoying, horrible, useless characters on screen ever in a
No,
movie.
she does a lot of stuff.
She's not useless. I
Yeah.
agree with Ian. She's not useless. She does what she's asked to, and that's really all she can do.
I mean, it's
No, because she helps give birth even though she doesn't know how. She works in the hospital part even though she doesn't know how, like a little bit.
She has worth, but I understand what you mean of just like every time she's on screen, it's just grating.
Let me word
and
it
I'm like,
differently. Let me word it differently.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
could
go
write
ahead.
her out with little to no effort.
Yes.
Yes.
So in that sense, she has no worth.
Especially considering that Scarlett has two sisters who disappear for a good chunk of the
Right.
movie.
Contrast that. You can't write out Clark Gable. You have a completely different movie at that
You
point.
can't write out Mammy, you have a different movie.
Exactly. You can't write that. Like, they're integral to the story. Whereas
Yeah.
she's just there to be incredibly
And
offensive.
get the shit beat out of her by Scarlett.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Because literally, Scarlett's like, we're going to birth this baby. You're going to birth this baby, and I'll help you, I guess. And then she's like, I don't know how to do that. Bam!
Yep.
All right.
How
Yeah.
dare you tell me you're not medically qualified to deliver a baby?
Okay, all right. Can I pitch a hypothetical to you guys?
Yes.
Of course.
Because everything we're talking about right now is what happened in the first half of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I pitched to you, take out the first half of the movie, so 2 hours gone.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
Add an extra 30 minutes to pace out the end better. And you can change Clark getting captured and being in jail to just him working with horses, and that's why he's there.
I mean,
You
what-
can
are-
maybe improve that a little bit more, but
Okay.
would you feel? I would feel that would be a far better movie. You would get rid of a lot of the problems.
So while I agree a lot of the problems are gone, the first 2 hours have so much integral beats in the story, but B, there are really good sequences in the first half.
I can't really think of any off the top of my head.
Their escape from Atlanta's really damn
The
good.
escape from
Okay,
Atlanta. is
Well,
really
okay,
good.
so
fair.
after she
That's fair.
vows to take care of her family, which is one of the best scenes of the movie, someone breaks into her house and she shoots him directly in the brain matter.
Oh
or the
my
skull.
God, that dude was
so
fucking
good.
meat.
He was completely dead.
That man's entire face was a hole.
Yep, that was.
But at
ooh.
the same time, why didn't she just tell her family that she was
Yeah,
attacked?
she
and
like
had-
covers it up, and it's like just tell
just
them
to
there was a hole
just
in
to
it.
Yeah.
get $40.
He's a
That's
Yankee too. They would
Right.
have been like, "Ah, damn Yankees."
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I guess it threatens the security and might make them feel
whatever.
less.
Okay,
but
so in the first half of the film,
that's a lot of character development.
there's no. I'm gonna challenge this. There's a lot of buildup of Ashley and Scarlett, and while I know that Ashley sucks and he has the personality of milquetoast, it's still integral to understand why she's so upset.
That's fair. I would argue that you could just because the reason why she loves Ashley is she saw him for one scene.
He's got a monster cock, bro.
Time skip to like after the Civil War,
Yeah.
or
It'd be really funny. No. You have all the opening stuff up until the part where they're like, "We're going to war. We're gonna win in a couple weeks." Hard cut. Post-war.
I think that would have been better.
We
You
lost.
say that now, and I think that would have been so much
I'm
better.
saying it mostly as a joke.
I don't think she makes as much sense, and I don't think she's as strong of a character regardless. I might not like the way that she is as a character,
Mhm.
but she's a really good character.
Also, I want to point out she never really gets to be with Ashley through the whole movie.
Good.
So
Good. That's the one comeuppance she has.
What I would ask is, do you think that she, evil sociopath as a character, would change if she were with him? Because I don't think so.
I don't think so either,
No.
but I'm not sure.
And Mud, you said Ashley is the personality of Milquetoast. Yes, but he's also pretty fucking good. Like, I think his actor's pretty solid.
He's a
And
decent guy.
He's
but,
not
like,
given anything.
he's
though.
supposed to be bland, regular. Mr. John Everyman, you know? He's supposed to just be dude.
Well, I also want to point out too that, like, I mean, Rhett knew it the whole time. Their relationship was a bad idea, and Rhett knew that because of the kind of person that she was. So there's nothing to suggest that she'd be a different person with Ashley.
I think he was hoping, because he's also an asshole. I think he thought maybe them being together, they'd eventually even out. And Rhett does. Rhett definitely.
Yeah.
And
For the most part,
I
aside
would
from
argue,
the part where, he raped her. But, like,
were the kid not to die at the end, I think Rhett, through everything, would still try and make it work.
100%.
he said that.
He
said
says it.
that.
He
So
said that.
he said
I
if
believe
Bonnie
him.
was still here, I'd still be here.
I believe him.
I think if what you said, if she did go to Ashley, she would have realized she made a mistake and then try to go back to Rhett. I think that's what would have happened.
Yep.
I think Scarlett is a woman who will never be happy.
Yeah.
She always wants something she
Yes,
can't
That's
get.
true.
Yes,
That's
and
very
I
true.
think at the end of the movie, when she's like giving him puppy dog eyes, like "I love you, come back."
It comes off as the fake crocodile.
It's the
tears.
fake crocodile, and he sees exactly what you're saying. She's never going to be happy, even with him.
But I think she actually means it at that point, but at that point it's too far.
No,
See, I don't think
disagree.
she really meant it in full.
I don't think she really meant
think
it.
I think she did.
Yeah.
I genuinely do think she did.
I think she partly meant it.
I think the death of Melly kick-started that, and then seeing Ashley that broken up, she was like, oh, he doesn't love me. I've been chasing this whole time. I'm stupid. And I don't realize the thing that I have. And then she's like, oh, the thing that I have. And then he left, and she's like, the thing that I have. Hold on. Stay. Because
Right.
that's losing everything all at once.
Yeah.
Right, but I think that's more of like her clinging to him for security and or wealth, because she says that at several points. Plus,
I think
but
it's a
he
mix.
offers her a way out.
Yes.
He talks about divorce after.
Yeah, but the grounds of the divorce was he gets Bonnie full custody.
also,
That's not really
I
on
don't
the
think
table
she
anymore.
wanted Bonnie.
I also
She didn't, which is the problem with why her dying is not.
She's just selfish.
It's also must be pointed out that she changes her mind from not wanting to be with him to wanting to be with him after he rapes her. That's a part of the movie.
It is.
I don't know. Now, granted, we don't. Maybe it's an implied. Maybe she's
Again,
just really.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's not the main point, but it didn't not happen.
Right, and on top of that too, like Jokin was saying, it's ambiguous. Maybe on accident he's really aggressive, and she, right after he brought her upstairs, was into it. Maybe we don't know. Unclear.
The way the movie cuts, I
will give you that.
personally cannot give it the benefit of the doubt. Whether or not Scarlett and Rhett work together as a couple is, I think, irrelevant to the end, because Scarlett is a woman who will never be happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that.
She, like, all throughout the film, she has so much. She comes from a great family. She, has literally a simp army.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's like 20 dudes crowding around her.
At the beginning of the movie, everyone's like, let me pipe. And she's like, no, you're not ugly, Ashley.
She's so just moody and unhappy, and then she dances with Rhett Butler just to be a bitch. And then, like, yeah, you deserve to be unhappy, I guess, in a sense, when, Atlanta burns down and, like, your family fucks up and your mom dies. But then, like, after, like, an hour of hard work, you've got this really good mill company, your second husband's dead, so you're free to do whatever, but she's still just always miserable.
Well, my thing is, it's not that she doesn't deserve to be happy, because I think
doesn't.
almost everybody deserves to be happy. The fact that she's doing these things are to obtain her own happiness, and she's doing them in a shitty way for other people, but in a good way for herself. She's a shitty person, but it's redeemable, remotely redeemable shittiness.
Yeah,
It's not like she's like actively like burning or torturing people. The thing she did to her sister was pretty fucked up, and I hope their relationship can never be fixed. But I still think that's at least remotely redeemable at some point.
This movie comes from a place of like Southern love. This movie would be like if after World War II, Germany made a Nazi Germany movie.
This would be if Jojo Rabbit wasn't a satire.
Oh my god.
Yes,
yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, literally. If
Like, if Jojo Rabbit was played straight, this would be it.
this is basically it. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's so blind to itself, and it thinks it's saying something really important, but it's just like, what you are doing is you are farting into a garbage can for 4 hours.
Right.
Yep.
It's just a weird, wet noise.
And you know what? I don't know if you guys want to get into ratings now, but for that
I actually
reason,
have a couple of things to talk about still.
all right. Well, I will say I can't give it a high rating.
That's fair, and I completely
I wasn't
understand.
planning on it.
I think that there are a couple technical issues with this movie.
Oh, there's some really
personally.
bad cuts, weirdly.
Yeah, there's some really bad cuts.
God, can you imagine us like in like 40s as like film critics and Ian just being like, the rotoscoping in this film was so bad.
They would burn him.
Hey, the rotoscoping, eh? See, eh?
And what's up with these title cards? Big bold letters.
I think Scarlett's showing a little bit too much skin.
How are we gonna distribute like commentaries in the fucking 30s
Radio,
and 40s?
dude.
Radio.
Yeah.
We verbally describe
We'd
the
be
clips.
okay. Well, no, because it's the 30s and 40s.
Clips.
We'd be What do you mean? We do that already?
Yeah, on the audio medium, I make a lot of visual jokes. I think this movie, at least, it's for the most part very visually impressive. There's some really visually impressive things. There's some bad cuts. The editing's definitely not perfect.
It's wonky.
Some of the sound design, there's one scene where it's way too loud, and the scene where they play Union Dixie really fucking happy is completely jarring.
Let me clap back though. I think this has the best editing and sound design of every Best Picture so far.
I don't know if I can say for editing.
I think so.
No, because even Mutiny on the Bounty was
Mutiny has
really
some
good.
Really good editing.
There were some
I agree.
choppy bits.
There was some. No, I won't say choppy. The thing where they were on the smaller boats, I can concede, but I think there are more
When
problems.
the boat went vertical.
There are more problems in this movie than that part.
True, but that's a quantity thing. It's twice as long.
Inconclusive for me. I don't know.
Sure,
Maybe.
the jury's out on that one. I just think
fuck
it's,
It's definitely comparable. I think it's top two, maybe top.
right. I'm just
We're
but-
approaching midnight now as we're speaking, and you're like, the editing, and my brain's trying to fast forward through all the other movies we've watched and be like, the editing, and
Fair
it's
enough.
like, you ever seen that old thing where like the VCR goes so fast it just starts to burn?
Mud's
Yeah.
brain is making AOL dial-up noises as we
I'm
speak.
trying my best to like very quickly recall shit.
Is that smoke coming in you?
Yeah, dude, the
The
cog.
one cog, the one wooden cog.
Right.
The wheel is still spinning, but the hamster is dead.
No,
well, I was
there's-
just saying that because I was going more in line with what you were saying, Ian, earlier, which is that this feels like a real, modern, awesome film.
It does, and I think
does.
that's due to all of the acting being good.
Yeah.
Regardless of racial stereotypes, all of the acting is good. The color definitely helps. Fuck, I love color film. God, so much. Dude, the first note I wrote down was color with an exclamation point next to it.
You never know how much you appreciate colored film until it takes you. What is this? The 12th episode?
Literally.
Yes, but you know what? I do really, really have a soft spot for some black and white films. The Lighthouse, especially. That film needs.
Well, even like not even
needs to
modern
be in
ones,
color,
like
though, dog.
Frankenstein and Dracula
Yes,
from 1931.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Real quick.
Frankenstein.
Did you guys
Dracula.
watch Justice is Gray?
No.
No.
Why
I
would
did not watch
Well,
Justice
I've already
is Grey.
seen it in color. Why would I want to regress?
You've seen it in color how many times now?
One, oh God, like 2 or 3.
Oh God.
No, granted, I've seen it all the way through once, twice for the commentary we
Yep.
just did.
Yep.
But I've watched the clips I really like 10 times.
Yeah. I absolutely love some black and white movies because it just gives it this wondrous feeling for me. That being said, there's a couple of older movies that are in Technicolor, like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari has a lot of blue Technicolor and sepia Technicolor, and I think that came out, I want to say late 20s, like what, 29, 27, something around those lines. Like, I truly appreciate the art. Oh, you have no idea how much I love talkies. This film is the most modern thing we watched, and we're going to regress until the 50s again to back into black and white. But I appreciate black and white. Like, it happened one night in Mutiny on the Bounty. Those films are bangers, regardless of them having color or
Jake,
not, and that wouldn't be improved by it.
Real quick, can you look up the budget for this film?
Sure.
Yeah. Fun fact: adjusted for inflation, it's $3 billion of
Or
profit.
something along those lines. Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
It was raw numbers 3.85 million, which is a ass load of money for the time period.
And that's probably due to it being in color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the box office raw straight number is 390 million, which is
Back in the day, almost 400 million.
Oh
that's
God.
oh my God, that's like billions of inflation.
Yeah, it's understandable why films in the future wouldn't go color for a while until the technology got way cheaper.
Do we have any more little things to say, bigger points to say? I want to make sure everybody gets their piece. Everybody gets to talk about the stuff.
Oh, I have one more.
Yeah.
This might not be props to the movie itself, but on HBO Max, the subtitles appeared directly beneath wherever or whenever the speaking character was in each shot.
I did like that. Yeah.
And it's really creative and probably took a lot of work. And I have a lot of respect for that because I've subtitled my stuff in the past. It's a bitch. It's a real chore. You don't realize how hard it is until you sit down for like an hour, you know?
I got something real quick. Right at the end when Melly dies, Scarlett promises to buy her son Bo a pony.
Yeah.
I found that really fucked up considering her daughter died after falling off a horse.
Not more than 3 days before her daughter died.
Yep.
Small little
After.
nitpick. Small
Yeah.
little
That's a large nitpick.
No. I have a small
okay.
nitpick. Ian pointed out. It took a while, but he pointed out that "Oh Christmas Tree" was playing
Oh
during
my
a
God,
Christmas
yeah.
party.
Oh, the anachronistic song.
There's no way "Oh Christmas Tree" would have been playing during the South during the Civil War.
Yep.
Absolutely
No, we looked
not.
it up.
Yes.
It wasn't introduced in America as a Christmas song until the 20th century, which is the 1900s.
Right.
So that was this movie. The people who did the score went, what about if "Oh Christmas Tree" was playing? Not thinking about "Oh Christmas Tree" not being
why would they
real
give a
for
shit?
Americans.
It's not like they could Google this shit, Ian.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. That's the worst thing Gone with the Wind. The movie is done.
Yep. So
my
with
favorite
that,
note-
0.
No, my favorite,
Damn.
my favorite note that I have here is the funniest line in the movie is when she's in the horse cell with him, trying to get the money, and he goes, "You're not worth $300." Holy shit, that was a roast.
Bird and a
There's
half.
some really funny, like, good lines in this movie that are just work, and that is good.
Yeah.
So with that, out of 10s.
Well,
I'll go first. I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 10.
wow.
I can't excuse the racism. It really draws me out of this movie.
Yeah,
feel it.
I understand that.
Not everything else. There are still like a lot of problems with this movie, but the good stuff is really good, and I think it could have been reworked into another movie entirely.
Can I say I honestly expected like a 1 out of 10 from
He
you.
did say 0 earlier.
He did say it's 0 as a joke.
Yeah, because they played "Oh Christmas Tree," you know?
Yeah, you know. And I love that song.
Yeah, exactly. 0.
A 5. This film is put together well.
Yes.
But like Joe Quinn said, the racism is fucking awful. The runtime is brutal. Scarlett is just so awful. Like, I mean, she's well acted, but oh my god, she's just an awful person. And I really don't feel like she ever gets what's due to her.
Yeah.
Bonnie dying is so tragic, and I don't feel like, yeah, that's what you get, you stupid bitch. Your child died. It's
You
like,
feel
oh my
bad
god,
because
this,
it's
this
Clark.
innocent
Yeah.
child has passed away and is caught in the crossfire of this mad sociopath's hell-bent path to get dick.
You know what my thing about that is too, Mud? None of the stuff that happens to her, we already mentioned that, I'm just being recursive, but none of the stuff that affects her is just affecting her.
Yeah.
If the comeuppance was solely on her, it would feel more earned. If Clark left, if Rhett left,
With Bonnie.
no, without Bonnie, fuck it. If Rhett left, he's like, I'm divorcing you, and we'll share custody, whatever. And she grows to love the child, and then she dies. It feels way more, especially if the child's living with her and she's growing and
Yeah.
all that. That's it. But the fact that that Bonnie dies and it affects Rhett way more.
So what would you give it out of 10?
Oh no! Can you go first?
All right, I'll go first. I'll start.
I'll end.
Yeah, okay. 6 out of 10 because it is a 10 out of 10 acting like a 0 out of 10. And
It
I'm
is.
mixing those emotions together.
For me, it's like a 9 out of 10 in the skin of like a 1 out of 10.
Right, like that's how I feel. Like it's just it's so awesome. It really is
Like
a
you
great
hit
movie.
these scenes with like amazing acting between like the leads, and you're like, oh my god, this is great, and then it cuts back to them like beating the shit out of Percy, and you're like, oh
Oh my god,
that's
no, this is
awful.
awful.
It's so great, and it's
Yeah.
really bogged down by all this stupid fucking terrible shit. And but at the same time, it's one of the founding movies of all movies, and it's so influential.
Yeah.
And I contest that George Lucas himself must have been influenced, at least partly, if not a lot, by Clark Gable in this movie for
I
Han
agree.
Solo.
Yeah.
Like, he's so influential in that aspect.
I see it.
I totally contest that. And I don't know. I have a lot of respect and a lot of love for this movie and a lot of frothing hatred. So 6 out of 10.
You know, I'm really glad that you guys all got your scores out of the way, because I wanted to save mine for last, because
Okay.
I was nervous. I was like, oh no, what if I'm giving it too high of a score? And they're
It's
like, racism apologist. I also agree with 6.
Okay.
I feel like this might have been the best one. If,
Wow, what a racist.
If not, you give it the same score, dickhead. I feel like this might have been the best one. If not, for the painful racism.
I can agree with that. Maybe.
I think it is so well acted, and it doesn't have a boat, so I probably wouldn't have given it higher.
That's true. No one is on the
But
ship.
the acting is literally A1. We have the best actor of all time in a leading role, and he knocks the fucking wind out of you the whole time. It's funny. It's charming. Even though Scarlett's a bitch, she is one of the most well-written women in early cinema. She is independent. She is strong. She is not weak. She is not reliant. She is not subservient. She is a amazingly written woman, and she is a character. She's not a woman character. She's just a character,
Right.
and it's amazing. Like I felt like we failed to take that into effect. Every character in these movies is, oh man, and she's like that to an extent, but she has reason and drive and her own personal goals, and it's awesome. This script is really, really good, and then it's like prissy, and you're like 4 points off.
Yeah.
It's like fuck. It's like immediate. The second that happens, I'm like, all right, this just went from like a 9 to a 4. And it redeems itself by more of the movie being great and amazing and so well edited, and except the bad parts. Like, it looks pretty. It's just so modern. Like, this film could be made right now without the racism, and people be like, yeah, no, that's a modern film. Like,
Honestly,
I
yeah.
straight up feel like this film, script-wise, is this is one of the pinnacles of early filmmaking. This is what made film.
I never really took into account the fact that, yeah, this is a strong, one could even argue feminist character.
Yep.
Although the movie kind of undercuts that
A
later.
little bit.
But
Minorly undercuts it.
minor to majorly undercuts it. But
Yeah.
even still, she's a strong, independent, one could argue a feminist character in this movie. Not that I'd know what the fuck
And you know
that
what the thing is too. It's not that she isn't subservient to the men she's marrying. She's using them for a purpose, and that's really interesting. You know, that doesn't, especially in the 40s, where it's like dumb broad. Every
Yeah.
other movie,
Literally.
this movie has really strong, well-written woman as the lead. Basically, I just can't give it. I almost said 5, and I was like, but there's so much good. I don't want to just give it. Oh, it's mid. It's on the upper tier of mid, but it is on the upper tier of mid because it's painfully racist, and I hate that.
Yeah, I feel where you're coming from. That's why I really gave it a 5, as I was just so split down the middle.
Yeah.
This movie's really good, and this
I
movie's
think we're all
fucking-
really split.
Ugh.
We got 4s, 5s,
Because
and 6s.
I think without that, it's so
doesn't it have like
good
a
and-
100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
No, I don't
I
think
just
so.
looked it up as a 90.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense.
Much better.
So with that, my favorite movie is Mutiny on the Bounty. And my worst movie is Gone with the Wind.
That's so funny. All right.
Congrats, bro.
Woo!
You know what's so funny? None of our shit changes because we gave it mid-tier
Yeah,
scores.
y'all know what I got from the last
yeah.
video. If you didn't watch it, go watch it.
Mutiny on the Bounty and Cavalcade, baby.
I'm gonna go. I think I said All Quiet.
You guys are all quiet in Cavalcade.
All Quiet and
All Quiet and
Cavalcade.
Cavalcade.
That's it, baby.
And
Mutiny,
what are
Mutiny
we
is
watching
so
next
good.
week, buddy?
I'll tell
Has
you
a
what we'll watch
boat.
next week. It's a Alfred Hitchcock debut, I believe, called Rebecca from 1940.
The
And-
least Alfred Hitchcock.
Hey,
Literally.
fun fact. Same producer.
Oh, funner fact, black and white.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We're regressing, baby.
We went from one of the best actors of all time to one of the best directors of all time.
Yeah, I'll give you
Let's
that.
fucking go.
We finna do this shit like this. It's like
Imagine walking into a shop. Can you write John G. raped and murdered my wife on my chest?
I think there is a scene like that.
Yeah, there is.
Thank God.
All right, what can I do for you, Leonard?
He's in the Batman Begins. He's the upside down guy who gets tortured.
Pretty sure this guy's also in Sons of Anarchy, the TV show,
He
which
is.
is how my brain recognized him, not the Dark Knight upside down guy.
I want to get the eat tattoo.
Where would you put it right above your junk?
Yeah.
Whenever I'm not sure if I'm hungry or not, I look way down, all the way at my stomach.
I stare just above my penis.
lying ass niggas in your